it's just business, right?
100%.
You and I have gone at it somewhat.
Yeah,
right?
we have.
And we're back, and we didn't even change clothes.
Oh, shit.
Back-to-back episodes of wearing the same shit.
Should we change?
I would take this shirt off and make it like a t-shirt.
You could do that and then give me that sweatshirt, and I'll wear that sweatshirt.
But my t-shirt's black, so we're gonna have to just run with it.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. It'll be a whole separate episode.
I'm
just gonna have to pay attention to which one's which.
Damn.
When we edit.
All right.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Your face was like way too excited. Way too excited.
We're like 50 episodes in.
This is 50. This is number 50.
Look, I was counting and I was like, I think this is 50.
So like 2 more. 52 is like, it's, I guess 50 would be the bigger number, or 100, but 52 marks a full year
of us doing this.
Which is like fucking crazy.
Look at us go.
I know. See?
Would you just look at it?
Well, just look at it.
Would you just look at it?
See, our whole relationship also started as, we actually started as a business relationship, sort of, with the Sports Illustrated video.
Right.
That's
so
kind of how it started.
I was auditioning for Sports Illustrated. I had met you a few years ago. Didn't totally remember you.
I'm not that memorable, I guess. But I don't think we actually.
We
I
never
just
actually
knew you were
like
there.
talked. Yeah. I was kind of there by myself, so I kind of just kept to myself and like gravitated towards a girl, and the girl was Margaret, because there was only like really one other girl who like made herself apparent there. So I gravitated towards Margaret. So yeah, we met a few years ago, and then I was doing a video for Sports Illustrated. I was looking for someone. Brendan was like, did you reach out to my friend? And I was like, I did not. And he was like, just do it. And I was like, okay.
Right.
And then I reached out, and it was around this time of the year, because it was,
you were like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were supposed to be going away on a Valentine's Day trip, and you did not.
Nope.
And instead you hung out with me, and we recorded my video, and it was great.
But do you remember you reached out to me a few years before that, which I think was after the track?
I did.
About a different video idea.
About a David Dobrik perfume video idea that I had with an old friend of mine.
Right.
And he just didn't bounce on it, so I didn't bounce on it. And then all of a sudden it was like gone.
Yeah.
Too much time has passed. And it was just gone.
And there it goes.
And then Sports Illustrated was here. So we tried that.
Yes.
So we started off as business. I think we got along pretty well. I'm pretty sure you could not stop laughing the entire time that I was saying stuff.
Sometimes like
my pronunciation of certain words just really got him. So at one point I was saying important, just like that. And I said it over and over again.
Important, and it's hard for me too, because like that was you as Rebecca, and I didn't know you, and it's like it's already hard for me to listen to that shit anyway. And then when you fucked it up, I laughed.
I laughed, you laughed, like we were both just like, this is too much.
Ridiculous.
So I think we like bonded over the fact that like
you fucked up your words.
I fucked up my words. We also bonded over the fact that like I did basketball for so many years, I couldn't get a shot in to save me, because it had been, I didn't warm up, you know.
Oh yeah, I didn't warm up. And then the skateboarding, right? She's like, I can skateboard. She like has it up on like 2 wheels, and then just puts her foot down and then looks at me. And I was like,
was I supposed to go?
That was it.
And of course, Joe didn't know me at that point, so it's like there's only so much. Like that's to the epitome. Now you know me. Like you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like that's 100% Camilla to a T. Like I also am a black belt, and like I brought my black belt, and we were doing like kicks in my gym and whatever else. And it was just like in such a short period, Joe got to know me. So we started off with business, and I don't know at what point did it evolve, but we did another Sports Illustrated video when I didn't get a call back. And I think at that point we were just kind of like talking and just like shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And then the other Sports Illustrated video we filmed, we were done with it. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know at what point did we start being like, you know what, like let's do product videos, or like let's.
I don't know either. Like, I really don't know.
I don't know when the transition had happened. That
like what was the next video that came up after we did that one? We did the TikTok version.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what happened after that.
I don't know. Like we started doing a lot of product videos.
We did the George's hot sauce, but again, I don't know the timeline of like, did I ask you to do a product video, or was it another thing that you asked me? Because when we did Showcase twice.
Yeah, we did Showcase.
We did
but at that point, we were already like friendly. Like we were friends.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I just don't remember how the sequence.
How did our friendship evolve? I'm so curious.
We just kept doing videos together, but I don't remember exactly like what happened after those two. We kept talking, but I don't remember what the next thing was.
Do you think it was on your personal account or on your film?
Oh, probably the film page. I mean, I'd have to look at like my pictures too to maybe
figure that out. So
like, do my timeline. We
started off as business and we kept going as business, and at some point it evolved as friends. So it looks like we did. Oh wow. Okay, so we did quite a few things, and we also consistently were sending memes to each other. Is what was really interesting.
That sounds right.
That does not end.
I can't find the net. Like, there's such a gap because like this is May. Oh, maybe it was Duncan.
Yeah. So what I think, and I could be wrong, but a lot of it was also working with Dirty Water. So
that
like
was after though, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think the next one that we wait a tick. We did all that, and then we did the Duncan at Roger Williams.
Oh, true.
And then we did the product style Duncan one, this one.
Yep. So I see that we did my Sports Illustrated. Then we did the Duncan at Roger Williams. Then we did another like Duncan one.
Yeah.
So I must have gotten signed from Duncan, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to help me with this?" And like naturally, we started hanging out more.
Yeah.
I was calling you more. Then we did Showcase.
Yep.
I was calling you. We were hanging out. The George's hot sauce, and then it just like kept going. And so we had like a natural progression. We quickly learned that both of us obviously like doing video content. I liked doing behind the scenes of some of the things that he would do more product wise. He was good at what he did, still is good at what he does.
What was. Oh, yeah, the Blount.
Blount, yep, Blount Clam Shack. So I was kind of just like having you do things with me, and you were having me do things with you. And then it pulled into Dirty Water and more product stuff. Rory's.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So yeah, it just turned into like a lot of shenanigans.
I remember that one.
This one?
And then, well...
Michael Myers.
I know we haven't done a product one in a minute, but then like we just did. I didn't send
you
that
said
to you.
That.
I did.
No, I sent that.
I was gonna say, bro, that is not my style.
I said that. Providence Diamond, Azaluna, McDonald's.
Yeah, man,
so we did a lot of stuff.
Bunch of them. Wow, I forgot about some of those.
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff together.
One that we won't talk about. That's very forgettable. But
so we've done a lot of stuff with each other, and I think it naturally grew into a progression of just being friends and bonding over like our mutual love of like little old emo music and like horror movies and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So now the telltale question of what this whole topic of like 10 minutes in.
10 minutes in.
The topic of this episode is mixing business with friends, business with pleasure. Like, is that something that's a good thing? Is that something that's a bad thing? Does it usually end up in good? Does it usually end up in bad? Like, what usually happens with that? So, obviously, we've mixed business with friends at this point. Because I think, first and foremost, like, we do business with each other. But I think at this point, we haven't done product videos in a little bit, which we really should start doing. I
have some in mind, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we did the Art the Clown one.
We did. That was our first one in a little while, though.
Yeah.
So... And that wasn't a product video. That was like...
No, that was just like...
That was a short movie.
Yeah. I needed to put that concept into real life.
It was great.
There's so many of those like ideas, and I rarely get the opportunity to like put it out. So.
If you don't know what we're talking about, head over to the Hate That For Me or Diorio Film or Joe Diorio or Shut Up Camilla Instagram because it's linked on all of them.
Posted on all of them.
But yeah, so we obviously have mixed that, but at this point... I'd like to think that we're friends first and foremost.
I think we started this like this would be our first venture. Like like video stuff's different because we started doing video shit like those type of videos.
I think in my head we were already friends, but in your head we weren't there yet. In my head I'm like my friend Joe, and in your head you were probably like, oh, I'm just doing collaborative shit with Camilla.
Yeah, pretty much. But like this would be like our first venture as like being friends doing something.
Fair.
Which would be this.
But in my head, we've been doing this for already 2 years.
We've been friends since the fucking day we met. That's how your style is.
In my head, I'm like, we've been friends since you were in my van and we were shooting the Sports Illustrated video.
Yeah,
like we just bonded after that, and then the day after we were friends. But that's not how that works.
That's not usually, because I don't expect, if I do videos with people, like I don't expect it to like keep going necessarily.
Well, it did, and it worked-ish for us.
It worked-ish.
We have a podcast that we talk about how different our views are on things. So it worked.
Right. Which I could probably tell from jump that this was like we were completely opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Could you tell like right away that?
Oh, yeah.
Like
that was like no doubt. Like I knew that we had so many similarities and like interests that we liked, but I knew that like as a person.
Perceptions are just completely
very different. Very different. Yeah. And there's no way that you would be able to get to my level, and there's no way I could get to your level.
No, because like a lot of the things is like I just can't reason with.
Sorry.
It just is what
Don't
it is.
Don't know what else to tell you.
It just is what it is.
So in our case, mixing the two worked out, and it worked out fine. But there's so many ways where it doesn't work out. Have you ever had an experience where it doesn't work out mixing business with friends? You don't have to go into specifics, but...
This episode is sponsored by our friends over at Be a Nice Human.
We don't agree on much on this podcast, but one thing we do agree on is our love for the Be a Nice Human brand.
Their streetwear includes hoodies, beanies, t-shirts, socks, and more to choose from with the simple phrase, Be a Nice Human.
Head over to beanicehuman.me and use the promo code HATE-THAT. That's H, the number 8, THAT for 10% off your order.
And remember, you can still be a badass and be a nice human.
I'm trying to think. I haven't really done business with friends. I think there's a lot of times where...
or business with pleasure. Have you ever tried to like date a coworker?
No.
It's such a weird like thing.
I would never do that. I also like, for the most part, I mean, I can't really say that because I have friends that I used to work with, but like, I know that's really hard to say. But like, as far as being friends with coworkers and shit.
Yeah. Like, have you ever... hung out with them?
Yeah, but like not in a long time. Like once COVID hit, it really like it died
dissipated.
out. Yeah, we used to like, and I was surprised that at the time I thought that these guys all like hung out every now and then, and they're like, no, like they were cool at work, but they're like, no, we started hanging out because like you started, because I was like, oh, let's like go to the fights and shit. Like they didn't really hang out, so I didn't realize that I was.
So you instigated it.
I was the person that was like. Well, because it was all like a bunch of like guys my age and shit. We all like got along. So I was like, but for the most part now, I don't know. I wouldn't dating somebody you work with. Have you?
No, I did not.
Mm-hmm.
There were definitely people that I had like crushes on that I had worked with, but I never dated anyone that I worked with.
I don't think I've ever had that either.
I think that's also weird. Like I don't know. Now that I'm older, maybe when I was younger, I would have been like, oh my gosh, but
yeah.
Now that I'm older, I'm like, there's certain times it's like nice for Nick and I to get away from each other and like him to go do his thing, me to come do my thing. Like, yeah, it's just, I love spending time with him, but it's also nice to have like your independence. I think that's super important.
If you work together and then you like live together, it's like,
it's a lot.
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, it's not anything towards the relationship or anything like that. But I mean, at that point you have no individual time. Like
it's also like depending on how closely, like if your department had nothing to do with another department, maybe different, but that's like different. It's also like if it's closely tied, it's like, man,
like their cubicles won over.
Yeah, there's could be some bad feelings there.
Yeah,
like you're just kind of exposing yourself to more like I think everybody needs like their
alone time.
So I haven't mixed business with pleasure in that regard, really. I guess like the only thing is like when you're doing business with friends or family, even like,
I mean, usually it doesn't work out.
Like renting, you know, like upstairs, like I had to be very like,
you had to be
critical of who I was going to, you know, ask to move in there if it was somebody I knew, because it's just like, you never know how that's going to go.
Oh, 100%.
On both sides. You never know how it's going to go.
If I had moved in and you were like, don't get a cat, you would have fucking hated me when I brought a cat. And then we would have be friends anymore.
Right. Because, and the key thing is there, because you disrespected me. But a lot of times when it comes to that shit, I feel like with work, it's easier to, when it's not people you're friends with or your family or anything.
Yeah.
It's easier to have harder conversations.
Yeah.
It's harder to have harder conversations.
My dad went into business with 2 of his friends for 2 different businesses. And he does all the work because he can't, he has a hard time telling him, you're not doing shit. And he does. Yeah. And then, because they're friends and, my dad's older, he just kind of, walks all over my dad. And it's it sucks. So, that's the downfall of going into business with friends. I most recently kind of went into business with a friend, but I started it with 2 friends. Mm-hmm. And this is the epitome of it. I did it with 2 friends. One person stopped wanting to do it anymore because they found another business endeavor. Yeah. And they separated their ways, but then they went around my back and this other person's back to the business to be hey, if you need me to help you with your business, come to me. I'm no longer with Camilla and XYZ. Yeah, yeah. And it's when you do stuff like that, now you're jeopardizing the friendship because I value our friendship and I would never do that to you or anyone that you're close with. So it's there's so many tidbits.
It really is because it's personalities too. And it's we've talked about this in this area specifically. Yeah. Whether it's in front of the camera, behind the camera, anybody that's doing content type shit, a lot of people are they're not willing to work with other people. Mm-hmm. And that is because I don't know if it's everybody just wants to be the island by themselves, but especially going into this year with all the shit from last year. Yeah. I don't have that anymore. I want people around that are going to be able to the high tide raises all ships. I don't want that. So doing slick shit like that,
not okay.
No, I'm fucking time for it. No.
I thought of you because there's so many times where in the past, Joe would be I don't let anyone mess with my money. And so I instantly thought of you because I was this is inherently messing with my money because someone that I was guaranteed a check from
tried to steal
it. Someone else was going in to try to steal it from me. Mm-hmm. And it's I've already, this wasn't something that you initiated. This was just you doing a roundabout way of a thing to try to
sabotage.
Yeah. And it's someone that I value as a friend and I think has been a really great friend to me. And I'd like to think that I was to them.
Money will show you.
But then I was that person doesn't have a job right now. So they're definitely trying to find financial means. And I totally get that. But you had left this business that we started together in order to do something separate. So why are you going to go around now and say, you know what? Fuck Camilla. I'm going to go reach out to the business. Even though I said that I was doing something completely different, which you still are, but clearly it's not doing as well as what you were saying because you went around my back to try to steal a business.
It's a risk because you're sabotaging a friendship and you're sabotaging yourself because people, they're not going to want to fuck with you. Right. There's people that if I had an opportunity with a big budget to do X, Y, and Z, there's people I won't use.
100%.
There's people I will use.
100%.
Because I have better relationships with certain people than other people.
You also have to understand that when you go into a business with someone or you're trying to work with someone, the girl that we were just talking to who had given us the idea for this topic, she and I, at this point, I have to be listen, this is strictly business. Was that your neck that just cracked?
Yeah, could you hear it?
Holy shit.
I could feel it getting...
It was disgusting to hear in my ears. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome.
But yeah, so I can acknowledge the fact that we're friends, but this is a business. So if at the end of the day, if I need to tell you, hey, we need to do something like this, we need to be respectful of each other as we're coworkers and not well, we're friends, so I'm gonna teeter-totter this and what that's not how that works around here. Business is business. We can't mix the two. They're separate.
And that's the way it has to be. Even with upstairs, there's a full contract. It has nothing to do with the relationship that I have with them.
100%.
But there is the business side. It's it's just business, right?
100%.
You and I have gone at it somewhat.
Yeah,
right?
we have.
But that doesn't mean that we're not friends. We're friends, but we've had those conversations,
talks.
Right?
There's
but you
talks.
have to be able to separate the two of that's the risk again with going into business with
100%.
family or friends is then the relationship can get fried.
It can.
or frayed, fried or frayed, both.
Both?
Fried,
like
fried
an
and
egg.
frayed.
It can. You just have to go into it being like when we've had our conversations, like in my head, I never would go into it being like, well, I know that Joe and I aren't friends anymore. Like, it's like, well, I'm doing something, whatever. Like, there's a reasoning behind it, but that's separate from the friendship. It's just like, I'm doing, one of the examples was showing up late. So it's like, so like, I'm being like, you know what, like, that's a valid point. He's not wrong with that. Like, I have to acknowledge the fact that, like, that sucks and I need to fucking stop doing that.
Right.
But that's like independent of our friendship. Because I'm like, I need to value his time of him being here and in between X, Y, Z.
Right.
So like, there's times like that, but it's just like, sometimes people take that kind of stuff to heart.
And that's why, because you don't want to make the other person, because you have a relationship with them, you don't want to make them feel bad, and like, you don't, it's awkward and it's shitty. Like, if it was somebody else like that you didn't know, like, I have these conversations at work, I won't be like an asshole, but I can be more direct, because it's like, you're not my fucking friend anyway. Right. So it's like, there's no like relationship to burn. Right. To be a little bit more straight. But like, when you're going into business with people that you're friends with or your family, it can get awkward.
The lines are blurred. Excuse me. The lines get blurred.
Right. And it does.
Blur lines.
Especially like in this, because this is a new thing that you just started, and somebody
already.
I would be very, I would take a mental note of that. And I don't know the details of the situation. You have to tell me like off camera. Yeah. But, I said that to you day one, and people know that about me. Like, just, you don't fuck with my money. Yeah. You know, it's just like, it's my time and my money. Right. Just, I just don't go for it.
Like, that's extra passive income that's coming to me that I'm banking on to be able to like afford a house within the next year. Like, I can't, I don't want anyone messing with that, especially being in a friendship where someone had messed with that before. So it's super like important to me that like there's clearly some growth. And if I just let that happen again, and I was just like, hey, I miss you, whatever, like, I'm letting it happen again. And I'm trying not to repeat my past mistakes. So that's where I kind of just, I know where the friendship lays. I won't reach out. If they come back around, then I can address things. But I'm not going to go out and attack. And I just kind of know like where I stand. And
yeah, I mean, it's just it also whoever's handling the money shit. Yeah, because you've had a past example. Yeah, that I was like,
you're like, this is not great.
What? Because I mean, you and I have invested in certain things. The sign, we get shit made. Yeah, like, but I won't make it unless I'm gonna make the move regardless. Yep. I won't make the move without talking about it first, because it's also your money. But there's times where if I do make the move, sometimes I pull the trigger, but I'm not asking you for money, because I just pull it. Like,
there has been a time where you were like, hey, I got this made. I think this was in the beginning of doing Reels again. You were like, I got, or something, you got something made, and you're like,
but I wasn't expecting it.
Hey, and I was like, tell me how much I owe you, and you're like, no, like, I didn't ask.
I won't
you
spend the
for
money.
It.
Right, I won't spend the money. If I spend the money, I'm not going to ask you for it, because unless like, I mean, now it's on a weekly thing, but like,
this is different.
I won't just like, if I was going to go buy this sign and be like, well, I bought the sign, here's the bill. Like, I won't do that, because it's like you have a decision to make on that too. You can say yay or nay. Yeah. So, and then your past example was not like that. It was like, well, I managed the money and I did X, Y, and Z, and then here's your cut. Here's your cut. That's like, you didn't agree to what was happening with, you got like 50% of your 50%. So you got like 25% of the money, because 25% got spent on other things that you didn't have a say on.
To give you guys the example, it's like if you were supposed to get $100 at the end of the night, and divided by 2 people, it would be 50. However, that person took that $100 and bought someone a drink because it looks good and they're supposed to be helping us for another thing, and then another $10 for this person, and then all of a sudden you're left with 60, and then they're like, hey, just, I spent 40 on XYZ for other people because it makes it look good, we need them, whatever. And I'm really like, they came, they weren't supposed to come, whatever. So now there's $40 left over or whatever, there's $60 left over. Here's 30 for you, 30 for me. And it's like, but I wasn't even a part of the conversation.
Right. You should have gotten 10 in that regard because you spent 40 of your 50 and you still should have got 50. That's the type of shit where it's like, that's why contracts are important. That's why having those conversations are important because so like shit like that, like to me is like, how could you just, you want to spend your half, go do what you want. But like, you can't cut the other half.
Yeah. So that's the downfall of going into business with friends, mixing the two. But sometimes you get something really great out of it, like what this is. And it's like, there's hiccups that happen in everything. Like
it's gonna happen.
It would happen regardless of us having a business. Like it would happen in our friendship eventually. Like one way or another, we would have a little hiccup or something.
Have we had hiccups outside of this?
No, we haven't. But I feel like it would have happened if
I don't know. I can't recall. I mean, nothing major. Like I
called Joe at one point, not right now, because I'm very respectful of his Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. But I would call Joe every single day, FaceTime him every day. Yeah. I'd call you for like a year and a half.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
As a Middle Eastern person, we don't text. No, but we do text. But I like to FaceTime. I like to FaceTime. I like to see you and I like to talk to you. We would just like talk about random shit for like hours. And then
because the first time we would
hang up
with the I sent you the first video, the first Sports Illustrated video, and you FaceTime me right away, and I was like,
hell no.
I think I like texted you instead, or like called you on the phone, and then you still were on the phone. And then you FaceTime. I'm like, what the fuck is it with the FaceTime?
So for like a year and a half, I think I FaceTimed him at least 5 times in the week, which is maybe 5-6 times. I think I called you like every day except for maybe one day,
like
and
the weekends.
I think I still called you on like a Saturday, like Saturdays or something. Like usually when I would head up to like Nick's house, I called you. I FaceTimed you on those rides up. So it's like
that's true. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. We had some deep conversations on some of those.
Those were long rides. That's why
I know.
They were like 45-minute rides, and Joe and I would get like deep and talk. But like I think that also is probably how like our friendship kind of grew too, because we would just have like really solid conversations about it. We would have like random shit, but then like there would be like good conversations in there too.
Right.
And then so like,
but I mean outside
that was
of
like
that,
a year and a half. But now I FaceTime you like what, twice a week now?
I know I'm not cool enough anymore.
No, because I am very respectful of your time. Also, I do FaceTime and Joe doesn't pick up. Also, Nick FaceTimes and Nick he doesn't pick up. I think I'm more like, oh, he's hanging out. Like I forgot, or like they're probably like whatever. Like I'm more respectful of it. But Nick is just like, why didn't Joe pick up? I'm like,
I know,
baby.
So
I'm sorry.
We were all playing a card. I was just telling them this the other day. We were all playing a card game, and I had my phone right here. And it was like I was sitting right here and all of a sudden the phone goes off and it's Nick, and I just looked up and I go,
worst time.
I go, I feel so bad. He has the worst timing. And usually like it depends on if I'm not home, because you guys like to FaceTime. If I'm not home, unless I'm driving and I'm like by myself, I'll answer. But if it's like,
if you're driving with someone else in the car, you usually don't pick up.
Right. Or if I'm like at somebody, like when I FaceTime you guys back on Sunday, like I was at my father's house. Usually if I'm with people, like I just don't do that.
Yeah.
I usually don't take phone calls, period, when I'm with other people. But I mean, I don't think we've had like, again,
Nick and I are always like, Joe.
I know, they're like my children.
Joe.
You guys are like my kids.
Nick is a needy boy. Yeah, it's so funny because like I've obviously built this relationship with Joe, but Nick has too. Somehow, like it just like kind of grew, and like he wants to call Joe more than I call Joe, and I called Joe like every single day.
That's why you're sick of me, because you hear it.
All I hear is like we're driving home from something, and he'll be like, "Where's Joe?" I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't have his location. I have no idea where Joe is. But that's his like quote for you is, "Where's Joe?" I don't know, baby. Give him a call.
I know, okay. Because we all haven't, outside of like, he did an episode with us.
Yeah.
Which already aired. And like we did the Art the Clown video, but like we all haven't hung out in a while.
Yeah. The last time was like that we all went out was probably when we went out a year ago for when
your birthday.
Oh, my birthday too.
But that was like, I mean, other than that, we all haven't really.
It was like
hung out.
January before I left for the show. Like, I don't think we hung out really in the summer, did we? Did we do any dirty water? Like
Last summer was a fucking blur.
Yeah,
it was just like
you
and I did dirty water shit.
Yeah, I don't think he came along for any of them because it's not like we did the seaport stuff. Like that was December the year before. So I think that it was like January and then it was December. So there was a gap in between where you guys like talked, but we haven't all
we didn't
hung
all
out
hang out
because you were working on upstairs. You were renovating. You were trying to get the lady out.
Because you and I didn't really.
You did a lot of dirty water.
We only hung out because we were doing this. Like we didn't. There wasn't a lot of hangouts, and then like every now and then, like
you and I went to like
you and Skylar will meet up, and like that was like the extent of.
Nick came once, but then some maybe just that one time, but that was still like smaller. We're overdue. We were supposed to watch Blood and Honey, but that comes out March 26th.
It's coming. So,
I guess that'll be the next time we hang out.
I mean, my schedule has been. I've been intentionally trying to keep it light. Because of last year just got overblown. So I'm trying to keep it light. So, I mean, I'm usually around.
I know. We need to plan something.
You guys aren't around this weekend.
No, not this weekend. But we need to hang out where we do something like we'll play card games. We'll all play card games. Or we'll go do dinner. Or go watch a movie. Maybe we'll go watch anyone but you again. That was
You're going to
really
go see it again?
So Heather went to go see... Shout out Heather.
Heather
went to go see it. I know. We went to go see... Or she went to go see it with our friend Rachel before. And she liked it so much that she went again last night with her husband. And he actually really liked it.
I've only done that one time and I regretted it.
Really? What movie was it?
40-Year-Old Virgin. Because I had two different like groups of people that were going to go.
Why did you regret it?
Because it just wasn't like, and I've seen the movie a bunch of times. I think seeing it in the theater, like that close to when I just saw it, like
you were done with it.
I was like, it's really funny, but like it just didn't hit the same as the first time.
I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've gone to see a movie twice.
Do you remember like people like when the Star Wars movies were coming out, they'd be like, I saw it or like even Harry Potter, like I saw it 12 times. I saw it like what the fuck? How much
Maybe I did do that for Harry Potter. I don't remember.
How much money did you blow?
A lot, probably.
To keep seeing the same film? Like, I just feel like that's weird.
I'd like to think that I haven't done that, but I might have with like Harry Potter, like Twilight or something random. Like when I was a kid. When I was a kid. Yeah, I probably did, but I don't remember it now as an adult. That was like, those were like hot spot movies when they first came out. It was like the talk of the town. There hasn't really been a franchise since then that has done as well as what like Twilight and Harry Potter and
yeah, I guess
those are like the two main ones. Twilight and Harry Potter. Those are like the two big franchises.
Lord of the Rings. I don't know when those came out though.
Those were like a little older, but yeah.
I don't know. I'm dating myself.
I guess now the Star Wars, like the newer Star Wars ones, but like that's probably it. Yeah. But Star Wars also dates back to like the fucking 70s.
Yeah, right. It's like the Creed movies are like the extension of Rocky from the 70s.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how we got on this topic.
I don't know.
I really don't know how we...
Send me home.
I don't know how we got here. But, yeah, I mean, moral of the story, I guess, is...
Moral of the story is if you want to mix friends with pleasure or friends with...
If you want to pleasure your friends...
If you want to mix friends with business, be super strategic, have everything on paper, irregardless of your friendship, and keep the friendship separate. But
is irregardless a word? I feel like it's
regardless.
Not.
It's supposed to be regardless, but I always say irregardless. Because have you seen that thing of like it's irregardless? Actually, like it's been on like Twitter or like Vine shit like that for like years. Irregardless is not a word for the record. I didn't
think so.
It's just regardless.
Okay, I know.
I just say it a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, so just keep them independent, and you'll have a successful podcast like us.
I mean, that's the moral of the story.
I love that for me.
And I hate that for me.
No, you don't.
I hate it.
No,
hate it.
You love that for you.
Hate it.